Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be taking apart this AW hub of the Hercules commuter, and I'm going to be servicing the bearings and adjusting the cones on it. And the reason I'm doing that is during one of my test rides, I found that as the wheel was turning, it was dragging the pedals around rather than just freewheeling. I've already adjusted the cone on the non-drive side slightly, so it has eased up some of the stiffness in it, so there's not as much resistance on the mechanism now. I figured what I need to do is to take it apart on the drive side now, remove that part of the mechanism, give it a thorough clean, maybe spray the internals with some like WD-40 and stuff to kind of drive out some of the old grease and stuff. Let that dry, and then re-lubricate the bearings. So let's see how we get on. So removing the indicator chain and spindle. There we go. That is covered in some oil. There we go. I think there's too much oil in this. Let's remove the window nut. This is 15 millimeter. There we go. So there's a couple of comments on one of my previous videos. So if you saw the video where I was reassembling the Hercules, the eagle-eyed among you may have noticed that I was missing a anti-rotation washer. So one of these off the axle on the drive side, and the reason for that was when I got the bike, it was missing one. And the new parts hadn't arrived by the time I was doing the reassembly. So I have two new anti-rotation washers, and I got two because the original one on the non-drive side had it's a little bit distorted, possibly from not having one on the drive side. So take this little lock washer off, So here, this is like the fixed cone on the hub. So you wind that down, and then you've got this washer here, and it'll only go on a certain way because of the shape of the axle. So what you do is you fit this side, and then you do all your fine adjustment on the non-drive side. A bit like when you're fitting a bottom bracket. Let me take that cover off. Yeah, 16mm. So all this will get thorough degrease. I've got my magnetic tray handy. Do not want to lose any bits. So there's a cone. Spring. Oh, there we go. That just lifts out. So I've got the bearings in there, and that is just, yeah, that's really nasty. And here we've got some caged bearings, and those are Sturmey-Archer specific. So if you need to replace these, you need to order a Sturmey-Archer cage with these bearings in. And we've got a cap here, so well, I'll clean this up, take the cap off, and regrease the bearings. I see there's no grease on these bearings here, it's just oil from where it's lubricated. So, oh, it's stiff, this. The 24 bearings in here. Lovely. Magnetic tray, magnetic wand. Okay. Right, need a big screwdriver for this one because it is quite stiff. So just, oh, there we go. The big one did it. Yeah, that is all that old grease. Yeah, needs a good clean. Yeah, so all this will get a thorough clean. So this is what the inside of the hub looks like. And when you pull on the indicator chain, it engages different sets. Engages different sets of teeth depending on which gear you're in. Okay, I've given the bearing race a clean. You can see that the metal has worn quite away. That may be because it's not had enough grease in it for a while. And I've given the mechanism a little bit of a clean, just like wiping some of the old grease out. It's quite difficult to do it thoroughly without removing the mechanism from the hub, but it's just cleaning up the worst of it. Right, it's cleaned up. I'm going to start reassembling. So I'm going to put a thin layer of grease around the bearing race. You need to use grease in here, in the bearing race, not oil. Use SA20 oil, like lawnmower engine oil kind of thing, for the lubricating the mechanism. But for the bearings, use grease, but not too much grease, otherwise it'll drop into the mechanism and foul that up a bit. So it's just a thin coating. All the way around. I may have put too much on, but I'll just wipe it around. There we go. Right, so there's the cap, all cleaned up. And mallet, just tap it back on. That's all nice and clean. So again, very thin coating around this bearing race. There. So it's almost like I'm wiping it off. And that just drops in. So, cleaned up the cap for this now. So again, this just goes on a little push. Maybe a little bit from a mallet, tiny bit. There we go. Right, so this drops in and engages with the mechanism, and then we need to refit the spring. And then on top of the spring, it's a little cap. And then the cone itself goes on top of that. So that pitting is probably from not having enough grease in it. Alright, so I've screwed on the cone for the drive side, basically as far down as it'll go. But then, because of the shape of the axle, you need to back it off so that it's the flats are square with the flats on the axle. You need to have the lock washer goes on. You see, it can only go on a certain way. We'll put on the lock nut for the drive side. And where is the, I think it's a 15? Yep, 15. There we go. Right, so that's a nice free sounding mechanism. And there's a tiny bit of sideways play, which is expected. But there's no like real play like up or down or whatever. So that is properly adjusted. Right, so cover back on, and first washer, and then that, back on, that, Let's see if we can get this back on first time, the clip. What if? There we go. Ah, success. Actually, I think that is a little bit too loose. Right, well, let's get this back on the bike. Right, so the hub's been adjusted, so the only thing that remains to do is to refit it, to refit the wheel, complete with these new anti-rotation washers. The original well, the remaining original washer in the which is in the middle, you can see that it is a bit distorted and damaged compared to these nice new ones. Well, it's the next day, and the wheel is now fitted back to the bike, complete with the new anti-rotation washers. Because of the extra few millimeters off the washer, it's necessary to adjust the indicator chain, just to slacken it off a little. When you set up the gearing on a Sturmey-Archer, you use this indicator window in this nut. You put the trigger shifter into second gear, and then you adjust the tension on the barrel adjuster so that the end of the spindle just shows flush with the end of the axle. So here it's slightly too far out. So there. Then adjust there. So now that's in third gear, second, back in. That's in first now. Second, third. So with those new washers and the hub being all serviced, I think we can cross off this restoration as being complete. And I have to say, it is a very fun bike to ride. This was the first free speed hub geared bike that I've ever owned and ever properly restored, so it's been a really good experience. And if you've seen some previous videos, I've already got 2 more lined up to do, so stay tuned for that. And with that, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy this video, please press like and subscribe to see my upcoming projects. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and until next time, bye for now. Keiko, what are you eating? Oh, leave it. Come on, leave it. Good girl, come on.